thought process, which began on Friday, April 10th, and culminated in today's writing of the 14th of April of some thoughts. The day I was retired from football, a position I had spent my 20 years coaching working up to, a position as a full-time professional coach and analyst. Time was up and it was the end. Time was to close up and move on. What started off as a routine day during the COVID-19 crisis, I was taking a day off out of the office, taking a day at home with family for Easter, Friday 10th. It was a day that actually started quite well, but quickly went down the toilet, most notably at 4:04 p.m, when the head of the government, Leo Varadkar, made an announcement to the nation. 3.5 more weeks of lockdown measures. Let's take it back first. I began coaching at the age of 15, coaching with my dad each week and learning the ropes, mainly initially by doing the demos for him of the technical skills and terms that he was looking for within his sessions. Learning, I progressed onto the UEFA license at 18 and completed it a year later at 19. Coaching at great clubs such as Belvedere and Home Farm and at representative level at the DDSL and NDSL, all before 20, I was enjoying being a coach, but something switched for me and it began to change, and it became more than that around 2008. I took many years of coaching at club level before I set up a coaching business, Elite Irish Soccer Coaching, in 2014. But it was born out of the great economic crash of 2008 that the necessity to work a double job really happened. I double jobbed for many years, and in 2016 I set up my second company, Elite Irish Speed for Sport Limited, and from that a dream of more in football was well and truly alive. EI Sports was born. So for many years I coached and built a program and loved everything it offered me, which financially was never huge, and certainly over the years it might be balanced in the negative in terms of what I have gotten out of it financially over that period and what I have put into the journey itself. A time which has seen me have a partnership with Borussia Dortmund for 7 years, brought kids to train in some of the biggest academies in the world in Real Madrid, FC Barcelona, Ajax and Dortmund. An industry which has seen me work with great people, great coaches from around the world, covert coaches such as Austin Spate and Stuart Hayden, great football guys who know the struggle that this life can bring, but are often equally the same. They give the same passion as myself to the journey. Though times got the better for Austin, he didn't know when to get out of the game, and that was a difficult one, I'm sure, for him to take. I will always remember special people like my friend Stephen Lynch from the IFA, who I met for the first time in 2014 in Crans-Montana, Switzerland, while a guest of Cover over there, and to this day I still regard him as a dear friend. Meeting great football people like Patrick Spina and Alf Galushin on that trip, among so many others, having the crack with Charlie Cook until the early hours, having a laugh and a joke. These are great football people. I left this learning environment in 2016 to craft my own journey, and at times it was like a roller coaster, but I have enjoyed it, although at times it has broken my heart. A major highlight was in 2018, completing the high performance football coaching postgraduate course at the University of Lisbon, coordinated by Jose Mourinho. I was surrounded by like-minded but full-time professional coaches working with top clubs such as FC Barcelona, PSG and Man City on a daily basis. I was among elite coaches, though I never quite put myself in that category, but loved the environment and really spurred the decision to leave the financial sector in 2018. I wanted this. Toughest time was 12 months ago, closing down my high performance training facility for players in Minute, which was closed not because of a lack of business, but the club deciding it wanted to use the room again for community use. I took it on the chin and sold up my purpose-built equipment designed for that room and got 5,000 back on a 20,000 investment. That was a kick in the balls if there was ever one. But the day I drove away, turned the key for the final time, I shed a tear knowing that something I had worked so hard for had come to an end prematurely. I've never told anyone this, but in the final month or so before I finally left the room, and the room was in disarray with everything being taken apart, I used to sit in the room on the floor and sit alone for hours looking around, because when you lose something you had built, it's a big loss. I've lost grandparents, etc., but this was different. This was anger and not grief. This was frustration at a loss you shouldn't be taking. So I sat there week after week, hour after hour, alone, in my head, planning ahead, with ruins around me of this dream in pieces. I bounced back, set up in different ways, and grew the business focusing heavily on investment in technology, buying 250 GPS units. Bearing in mind that we already own 10k in unique speed and cognitive development equipment, which sits gathering dust today as we've closed our doors. Summer 2019 was crap. It was crap one for summer camps, but the objective was achieved. Pay some bills, clear some backdated wages and move on. It was just that, alone. The aims were to be ready to go for September, and we were. September through to December were good for terms, though some errors were made on my part in pricing, leaving a shortage, but lesson learned. Bounced back and was ready for the rebooking in January, and we were back, planning ahead and working forward to 2020, until the bang, March 12th, 11:50 a.m. Country was shutting down the following day. I know it was that time, as the players were about to go onto the pitch for the College Cup final. They got messages saying that the college was closing. 2 hours later, driving home, having lost the game 1-0 on the 90th minute, I contemplated what would be for the business with the lockdown. Just a few weeks, should be okay, but I need to get to the bank and sort a few things, etc. Weeks later, banks are still not sorted, and that's another matter. Keeping busy, I continued to go to the office during lockdown, continued to plan ahead, continued to think we will be ready for this, and then the announcement extension for further 2 weeks total lockdown. This was a blow for sure, but nothing compared to Friday 10th of April, if I'm being honest. Friday 10th of April was the day I was retired from football. I know that I take it badly. I was not a nice person, and I'm ashamed to say I was not a nice father or husband either. I was angry and frustrated, and as such needed time to regroup in my head, so did little talking that afternoon and evening. A government decision was taken to once again shut down the country, but this time for a further 3 weeks. This time we would be a week into May, which would mean we would be down another term of bookings and Easter camps could be gone. Noting, of course, that I love what I do, and it certainly isn't about the money, but it's more about a lifestyle by my own design as such. I get family time with my wife and youngest, who's 2, that I didn't get with my other 2 children. These are the moments I love, and a career in full-time sport allows me that. For the decision to be taken out of my hands, I was being forced to retire from the game, as I just couldn't see what we could do. I was out, I was down, I was done, and I was out of the game, and financially, too much was on the table to go again with anything else. The game was just about over, not by choice, but just like the game of Chinese whispers, the Chinese virus had gotten out of hand and killed my present and potentially my future, though my thoughts go to the families who have literally lost loved ones, and it was all unnecessary and sudden for all of them who had lost a loved one and now laid to rest. May they rest in peace. Today, 14th of April, I sit in the office, and once again, like 12 months ago, sitting in my facility. I sit in my office alone, with my thoughts, in a room where I've turned off the lights, and only for the light bit of natural light illuminating the room from behind the blinds. This is a dark moment in my career. To leave or not to leave, that is the question. Noting my favourite poem by Robert Frost, Two Roads Diverge in the Yellow Wood, I think of my time on this journey, and the fact that I chose the road less travelled, and that has made all of the difference. Did it really? Was my lack of experience as a professional the difference in the end, or was it just unlucky? Or does this moment take my mind to another poem, but by Dylan Thomas, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night? Maybe today I can add a verse to this historic poem, a verse of my own. As light of day passes by, my mind races not for tomorrow, but for yesterday. My mind looks at what is lost. My mind looks for what is to be. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. I know but a few things in my 35 years on this earth. We can be given money, we can be given gifts, and we can be given all the things that we seek. But it's when things are taken away that we seek to hold on to them for longer. The same goes for death as it does for material things. I did not choose to retire, so I will not retire. I will decide when the final whistle ends on this game, though I certainly feel we are 2-0 down with just a little to play, or maybe the reality is the game is scoreless and we're down to 9 men, taking 2 setbacks, and we're clinging on for the final whistle so we can regroup again and come out and fight another day. I sit and wonder, do I decide to give up or fight back from 2 setbacks, or do I concede defeat and accept the final whistle? This is truly a crossroads for Soccer 365. This is a time to think. Thank you for being part of my Soccer 365 journey.